Yeah, guys, hey, what's up? It's your boy here, Kenneth, or Kyle, 9965, whatever. Um, in a different setting, doing this video today. Um, Much better lighting it into. I think I might start doing my videos in my office here from now on if I can get the chance. Um, so I haven't done a Raw review in a long, long time. Like I talk about things like you know, in the wrestling world, but doing like a Raw and SmackDown review, I haven't done in years. Just because the shows as a whole just haven't been that bad. Have been that bad, except for last night. Last night was the exception. For the first time in I don't know how long, maybe even a year, um, Monday Night Raw was actually a good show. Um, if I was to give it a grade lettering, I'd give it like a B plus, B plus, B plus, A minus. But it was a good show. So I guess I'm not. I guess really I'm not going to really talk about doing a whole Raw review, but just mostly a just talk about some key points, some big things that I thought was interesting coming out of Raw that I personally enjoyed. Um, One of the things that kicked off the show was Roman Reigns. So that's one of the big things coming out of it, and probably the biggest news to come out of Raw last night. So it was advertised a week ago. Roman Reigns was coming back to give fans an update on his condition. He came back to a roaring, pop and ovation from fans, which is actually cool to hear. I don't think the audience were in unison, cheering Roman Reigns since Roman won his first world title against Sheamus on Raw. And that was like 4 years ago. So to see everyone finally cheer him and, see him, be back in good spirits was great. Um, so out of that, Roman Reigns announced that he is in remission, which was good news, and that he is back. Um, it's great to see Roman back again. I think with a lot of people, it's interesting how just some wrestling fans are. You have some wrestling fans that go and say, well, hey, he must not have had cancer because he was only gone for 4 or 5 months. You can't get rid of cancer that soon. And it's like cancer works differently for a lot of people. He had it before it went into remission for like 2 or 3 years. Then it just recently came back. So just because it's in remission now, it's only been 4 months now. I mean, since they've been gone, and now that it's in remission, it could still come back again. Hopefully not, but it could still come back within the next, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. We don't know. So for a lot of people, whoever thought that Roman's illness was a work, it was fake or whatever, like, come on, get your head out of your ass and like wake up to real life. Because for anyone who thought that this was a work, you're an idiot, like literally. And you literally think that WWE, with the tons of sponsors they have, the Susan G. Komen sponsors in particular, do you think WWE are legitimately going to play out an angle or a storyline of one of their top superstars having cancer? Like, that makes no sense. Like, and then I've seen some people, well, he's, they've faked his own death and they've done this and done that. Yeah, but they don't have the sponsors now like they had then. So WWE is serving a whole lot of masters, and they are really pushing and have been pushing for almost the last 10 years and having a clean, public, family friendly image. So why would they, have Roman to fake cancer? That makes no sense. So it's great to see that Roman's back. I don't know when he will fully be back. In wrestling, it's probably going to take a couple more months. Um, I'd be shocked if he would. I'd be shocked if Roman came back in time for WrestleMania. I think that might push it. I could see him probably coming back for SummerSlam. Him having a big SummerSlam match. That I could see that. WrestleMania, I think that might be a little bit too soon. Um, then after that, we had again. I'm just talking about things that I liked from Raw that I thought was good. We saw Aleister Black and Ricochet against the Revival. The Revival lost again. I I don't know what to think. These are your new Raw tag champs, and already you're having them losing to the new guys. I I don't like that booking. I mean, they could have chosen anybody. They could have chosen, uh, uh, oh god, I forgot the tag team that has the paint on their face. They were cracking on Otis from Heavy Machinery. I can't think of their names. The Acolytes? No, not the Acolytes. They're kind of like the Warriors, but a cheap version, watered down version. I can't think of their names right now. But you guys know what I'm talking about. They could have had those guys fight, Black and Ricochet. But that was a good tag match. They had an Intercontinental title match with uh, Intercontinental Championship match with Finn Balor and Leo Rush. This was a fun match. I enjoyed this match. Rush and Balor, they fought once before on Raw, if I remember, like maybe like a month or two ago. But it wasn't really nothing to it. This was actually a competitive match, and it was a good match. I really enjoyed this. I definitely think Leo Rush. I think he has something. He is. He's got a personality. He's small in stature. When I was watching him wrestle with Balor, I was like, he kind of reminds me of like a Rey Mysterio, like a black Rey Mysterio, just like his size and stature, and he's like flying everywhere. I think if they play their cards right with Leo Rush, I think Leo Rush could be um, a star. A star, definitely. I think he could be like the next little, maybe not on par with the Rey Mysterio, but he could definitely be like one of their smaller guys who's a star in that roster, for sure. So I really enjoyed that match. And then later on in the night, we had a no disqualification match against Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose. This was another solid match. I personally thought I enjoyed this match. I think Ambrose, in his current kind of like, gimmick or whatever that he's been going through since he had turned heel, and McIntyre, his aggressiveness or whatever, I think they have a good feud. I think I always thought those two could have a good feud and good matches. And I thought, having a disqualification match on Raw with those two involved and just the intensity and the attitude both men bring, I thought it was a fun match. McIntyre won second week in a row against Ambrose. And then you had Elias Lashley and Corbin came out and was beating up on Ambrose, only for Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns to come and make the save. Roman Reigns made some Superman punches, hit McIntyre with the spear. He looked to be a little winded, a little out of ring shape, but it's bound to happen. The guy's been gone for like 4 months. He's been trying to get healthy and get back into shape. So that was a cool spot. It was entertaining. Now this does remind me. So you have Seth Rollins going up against Brock for the Universal title. That's locked in. That's set. Ambrose doesn't really have anything for WrestleMania. You got to figure they're going to put him on, even though he's like leaving when the contract ends. You got to figure he's going to have a spot at WrestleMania to some degree. Roman Reigns, I don't think he could surprise me. I don't know. I don't think he'd be in ring shape and ready by WrestleMania. But based on what happened last night on Raw, I could possibly maybe they do like a Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus like Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre or something like that, or Ambrose Roman Strowman against McIntyre, Lashley, Baron Corbin. I could see something like that just to probably kind of get Roman on the card. Um, Hindsight, would be a waste because, I mean, if you're going to save Roman Reigns, like big in ring return, probably want to save it for like a bigger, not a bigger, but a big pay per view in the summer. So I'd probably say SummerSlam, but I'm just kind of thinking left field. They might do something like that. Or I could see even in like Seth Rollins match or something, maybe Roman can never run it because he did it last night on Raw. So I mean, he doesn't have to be like physical, but maybe like throw a Superman punch or something to Brock Lesnar, or Dean Ambrose does something as well, and you kind of have like a Shield moment. Excuse me, at WrestleMania, celebrating Rollins' championship victory before Ambrose leaves. So I can see them doing something like that. So if they do that, remember you're here first. And then the second biggest talking point to come from Raw last night, it was Ric Flair's 70th birthday party. They had all of, the big stars from Flair's career, from Ricky Steamboat. Sting was there. It was cool to see Sting again. So yeah, whoever, past and present rivals or whatever of Ric Flair's career, they were there. And then they were about to bring out the man himself, Ric Flair, only the camera to be like shaken and panned towards Batista, the animal. Batista breaks into Ric Flair's locker room, drags him out of the dressing room like a lion pulling his carcass, and he just looks at the camera and tells Triple H, he's like, "Hey, do you have my attention now, Hunter? Huh? Do I have your attention now?" And Triple H runs in the back, finds Ric Flair. Batista's nowhere to be found. And they fades to black, and it's Raw. All in all, I thought Raw was a good show. It's good to see Roman back. Really exciting to see Batista. So, just to kind of like pander off on that, we're going to get Batista versus Triple H. That's coming. That's guaranteed. We're going to get that. I'm down for it. Batista has been wanting this for quite a long time. Things just didn't really pan out. He was sending WWE love letters pretty much, and they rejected them. The seeds were kind of officially planted on the SmackDown 1000 show last year, where you had all the 4 members of Evolution coming out, and celebrating SmackDown Live's 1000 episode, and Batista was taking some digs and some jabs at Triple H. So the seeds there were starting to be planted, and then Triple H like tore his bicep or whatever from the was it the Undertaker and Kane versus Triple H and HBK match, Crowning Jewel, yeah, the tag match of Crowning Jewel, that Triple H tore his biceps, so then it was kind of like up in the air at that point. It was rumored, actually 434 and Spotlight, actually, they both put up on the Facebook that Batista was expected to come to Raw. WWE tried to, hide it or whatever, but he was seen taking a flight from wherever he was to come to Raw that night in whatever city that they were hosting. So word kind of got out that Batista was going to be there. For me, it was kind of like a wait and see. Like, it's always rumors, reports of things. You never really know. Sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. Clearly it happened, and it was true. So yeah, I mean, Batista. So right now for WrestleMania, we've got the triple threat women's match for, the Raw title, Rollins versus Brock for the UV title. And then you got Batista versus Triple H. Just off those 3 matches alone right there, that's a pretty solid, like, top tier main event cards for WrestleMania. I don't mind seeing Batista versus Triple H. Some people might write, why we got to see this again? I mean, would you rather have two part timers work together, or would you rather have a part timer versus someone who's there every day, only to have that the wrestler who's there every day take the job to the part timer? So I mean, it's like you can't win with wrestling fans. And it's a feud I don't mind revisiting because it literally hasn't happened since like well over a decade. Triple H and Batista, their feud was like throughout like 2005. I think that was the year. Yeah, because Batista won at WrestleMania in '05 of that year, and then they had Backlash, and then you had Vengeance. Uh, so for back to back months. So it's been over a decade since we've had a Batista versus Triple H. Triple H has never beaten Batista, so that would be that's an interesting storyline that they can play on. Um, I'm all for it. Heel Batista is always the best Batista in my book. He's good at either way, but kind of like Randy Orton. Randy Orton's dull as a babyface, but there was that 1 year I can't think of it. I think it was probably the year when he turned on the Authority and has his beef with Seth Rollins. But there are times where Randy can be like okay for a heel. I'm not heel, a babyface, and the same applies to Batista. Batista's okay as a babyface, but he's a much better heel. And so I think getting heel Batista, or I guess you could say Hollywood Batista, is going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Definitely looking forward to seeing him coming back, doing promos, as we lead to WrestleMania. So after last night's Raw, I'm starting to feel the WrestleMania buzz. At whereas before, the Rumble coming after the Rumble, WrestleMania, it didn't really feel like WrestleMania season to me. It just kind of felt like just getting from point A to point B, kind of like thing. After last night's Raw, Batista coming back, the potential with that match. Even Ronda Rousey could have good promo with Stephanie. I thought that was an interesting spot as well. It's probably not going to be the most talked about thing coming out of the show, considering how the show started and ended. But even Ronda Rousey, I thought that was great. So it's to me, if like I said, after Monday Night Raw, WrestleMania season to me, I feel is finally like it's kicking it up a notch. We'll see what SmackDown does tonight. They definitely, I think, after a good show from Raw, they definitely have to pick up the pace, see what they're going to do there. I know Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan are going to have a contract signing. I will be doing a separate video talking about Kofi Kingston's push and if he will win the WWE title. There are rumors right now to have Daniel Bryan face a returning Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. But like I said, if Kofi doesn't, win at Fastlane, but we'll see. Like I said, I'll talk about all these things more in another video. I just don't want to make this too long. Like I made my last couple of videos, I spent like 30 to maybe 40 minutes talking about stuff. So, yeah, just want to let you guys know, get my thoughts on Raw. These are some good tidbits, some highlights I found enjoyable coming out of the show. Glad that Roman Reigns is in remission. Hopefully it stays in remission and it does not come back. I think that's, if anything, that's probably the most frightening thing, that it could come back, in the next 2, 3, 4 years. We don't know, because it was in remission before and it ended up coming back and he had to step away. So, yeah, you guys let me know what you think, what you guys thought of Monday Night Raw. I want to hear your thoughts in the box below. Do yourself a favor, hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget those notifications. This your boy Kyle 9965. Peace out.